There is a different fart every time I hit the turn signal. Oh, oh, oh. Okay, I put my foot down. Hello, my name is Alanises King, and this right here is a 2019 Tesla Model 3 Performance. This car has about 450 horsepower, a 0 to 60 time of 3.2 seconds, and I've confirmed it makes a lot of fart noises. This car is super exciting, and I cannot wait to show it to you today. But first, I gotta tell you, this Model 3 Performance is now available on Cars and Bids. If you want to check out more photos, see the full spec list, or maybe even bid on it, you can check out the link in the description of this video. Before we get to this Model 3, let's talk about why it exists. Tesla started delivering its flagship Model S sedan in 2012, and not long after, there were discussions about a cheaper Tesla. In 2013, Bloomberg reported that Tesla CEO Elon Musk said he wanted to create an entry-level Tesla that could fit in the price range of buyers looking at normal gas-powered sedans. That kicked off talks about the magical $35,000 Tesla. And this is a concept that lasted for many years, but we'll get to that in a second. The Model 3 officially got its name back in 2014. But it actually wasn't supposed to be Model 3. It was supposed to be Model E, because as I'm sure you know, Elon Musk had the Model S sedan and the Model X SUV. He wanted his car lineup to spell sex, and later, sexy. But it didn't exactly work out like that. In 2014, Automotive News reported that Ford heard Elon Musk's plan and said, "Oh, no, 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 no. We control the Model E name, and you can't use it." Ford's justification was that Model E sounds way too much like Model T. I don't think this looks like a Model T, but you know, details. Anyway, Ford said, no, you can't use that. But Ford didn't have a Model E at the time. In 2022, Ford did split itself into two divisions. We have Ford Blue, which handles the gas-powered cars, and then Ford Model E, which handles those EVs. So they did use the name eventually. Tesla's entry-level sedan thus became the Model 3, spelling sex and sexy with those backwards chat room-looking E's. And we were told that the Model 3 would cost $35,000 base, which was about half the price of the Model S. But when the Model 3 debuted in 2017, there was no $35,000 car. When people asked, Elon Musk said, "We can't build the $35,000 Model 3 until we have cash flow from the more expensive versions of the car." And Tesla did eventually offer a $35,000 Model 3, very briefly in 2019. And once the sales stopped, no one knew at the time if Tesla actually built any. Today, in 2023, you can order a few different versions of the Model 3 on Tesla's website. The first one is a $39,000 rear-wheel drive single-motor car with 272 miles of range. The others are dual-motor all-wheel drive versions. The first one is the Tesla Model 3 Long Range at $46,000, and the next one is the Tesla Model 3 Performance at $51,000. The current long-range Model 3 has 333 miles of range and a 0 to 60 of 4.2 seconds. And the Performance Model 3 has a range of 315 and a 0 to 60 of 3.1. That brings us to this car, the 2019 Model 3 Performance. This car has 450 horsepower, 310 miles of range, and all-wheel drive. This car also has 20-inch wheels and track mode if you want to have a little fun. Track mode does a lot of things in the Model 3, but there's a really cool menu inside the car, so I want to show you the details once we're in there. Despite those claims of the $35,000 Model 3 that kind of panned out, I still think this car is a huge deal in automotive history. I remember the early days of the Model S when you would see one every once in a while, and it was a big deal because you didn't see them that often, and the Model S numbers slowly crept up over the years. But with the Model 3, this car comes out, and all of a sudden, boom, there are a lot of them. Now you might say, Alanis, it's a car. They make cars, people buy cars. But in 2022, only 6% of new car sales were EVs. And that was up from years prior. So to have these cars be decently common, it's a pretty big deal. Even if you're not a big car nerd, there's something really inviting about the way the Model 3 looks. Over the years, we got used to the Model S and the Model X, which have those fox eye, pointy headlights, the horizontal slit, and that pointy Tesla logo in the middle. And they look good, but they also look intense. And then comes this Model 3 with these soft, big, inviting headlights and the curvy front end with no real big creases or cutoffs or anything like this. This car just looks innocent and sweet, and there's something I really like about it. The Model 3 is also still decently affordable. If you get one for $40,000, you're in pretty good shape because the average cost of a new car in 2023 is about $50,000. And most of the cars factoring into that number are gas powered. So we've learned the history of the Model 3. We've appreciated its innocent but also minimalist styling. And we've also learned that when Alanis is filming by herself, her pants get progressively dustier and she just doesn't notice them until she watches the film back. Sorry about that. But now it's time for my favorite part of the day. Can Alanis fit in the trunk? This opening is a little tight. Maybe I should have gone in like feet first or something. It's really big once you're in here, right? So this is a deep trunk. Making sure there's no one around so they can't come close it. It's actually pretty comfortable once you're in here. It's just the opening is a little narrow, right? And I can't reach the actual trunk, so I'm probably not gonna close it, but I can show you easily that it will close on me right here. I also would struggle to get out with a key card, so we're not gonna try that. Because the Model 3 is electric and we don't have an engine up front, we have a frunk, which is an additional storage dimension that Alanis would get in. And the frunk is really funny on the Model 3. You actually open it by pressing on the frunk in the screen in the car. But when I open this, it's very shallow up here. I've got this plastic rim. I don't think I should sit in there. So instead of measuring it in Alanis's, we're gonna measure it in Alanis's backpacks, okay? So, you could squeeze a solid 2 of them in there. Now that we found out the trunk is roughly 1.7 Alanises and we got it pretty dusty in there, it's time to figure out how to get in the actual car where the people go. And I have this little key card. It looks like a Tesla hotel key, right? This is how I get in. Boom. Boom. Amazing. Now we're inside the Model 3, and in order to drive the car, we have to place the key card right here. So we're just gonna go ahead and do that and leave it. And you might say, Alanis, isn't a key card a weird way to get in a car? I don't think so. I think it's actually pretty normal. The only thing that would be odd is that I have a habit of clicking the lock button like 10 times as I walk away from my car, as if anyone wants to get in my car. And I can't do that with the key card, which is a little weird and would be unnerving at first until I got used to it. But overall, I think the key card is cool. It saves space. It still gets you in. It still lets you drive the car. And at the end of the day, someone like me, who has every car in their house, has keys held together by electrician's tape, cannot have any opinion on any other form of car key. Electrician's tape all over it. Tesla also has a mobile key system on its Tesla app. So if you want to give other people access to the car temporarily or for long amounts of time, you can. I wanted to test that out today, so I did get an access code. but unfortunately the app would not take it. So maybe it's a case of I haven't had the app long enough, maybe it's something else. But just so you know, if you want to share your car, make sure the person has troubleshot it on their phone before they get in it, because it might not work. So now that we've had our key conversation and we've gotten in the car, it's time to talk about the inside of this car. It is very, 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 very simple in here. And I was actually about 4 floors down when I got in the car to drive it up to this level of the parking garage. And I didn't have any phone signal down there. And I didn't refresh my memory on how to put the car in drive before I went down there, because I expected to have phone signal. So I just had to sit here and do it the old-fashioned way and look around and go, okay, how does this car go in drive? It is on your right turn stalk here. So on your right turn stalk, you have reverse, neutral, and drive, and you just move it wherever you want it to go. And to put it in park, you press it in with your thumb. So we figured it out. We got moving. It was great. But there are so few buttons in this car. You have these 2 turn stalks that have a couple of functions. And then really all you have is the big screen. That's it. The dashboard is empty and plain. The center console area is empty and plain. Everything is in this screen. But I can say, working with this screen for a little while today, it is really easy to figure out how to find stuff in here. I can find stuff pretty much immediately in this screen, and that's really cool. The only issue I think with screens that we haven't as a society really encountered yet is that if all of your functions are on a screen and a button would work for that function, if the screen goes out, that is kind of scary. I don't think we're there yet as a society though, so don't worry about it. The screen works. The minimalism in this car works really well. These white seats are beautiful. I mean, I know you're probably looking at them like white pants and going, Alanis is wearing black pants and she somehow got dust all over those. How do you keep this clean? Well, this car is 4 years old and it looks spotless in here. It's beautiful. The white seats look amazing. The lack of anything is really peaceful and nice. And then you look up and you have this giant panoramic roof. Of course, you do have a bar in the middle, so it is not an uninterrupted panoramic roof, but it still makes the car feel so airy and just, you feel connected with the world outside of you, because the car isn't necessarily your focus, because there's not a lot to work with in terms of buttons anywhere. You're focused on how the car integrates with the world around you, and I feel like that is a really cool feeling. It's not harshly one or the other. There's this nice 50-50 balance of being in a car and knowing I'm in a car, but also being out in the world and knowing I'm out in the world. So now that we've talked about what it's like to sit in these nice, cushy, white, spotless seats up here, let's talk about what it's like to work our little screen that controls everything. We're gonna start with track mode because I promised we would pick up from there, okay? So we put this car in drive mode. We're ready to drive, but we're not going anywhere. We're in park right now. And you can go to pedals and steering. That's one of the menu options under the car. Track mode. You click track mode and you get a warning sign and it says, don't use track mode unless you know how to use track mode and you are on a track. Don't do this on the road. Don't do this if you are not a trained professional. I agree with all of those things. Behave on the road. It's not worth your life and it's not worth someone else's. So we're not using track mode. We're going to explore it. Let's click it. Track mode enabled. We see it right here. It says track mode enabled, and we can customize track mode by going in here and saying add new profile. And then we get to adjust a few things. We get to adjust the regenerative braking. Basically how much you want this car to brake for you. Regenerative braking in an electric car is the force of the car taking the kinetic energy of stopping itself and taking that energy back to the battery. With regenerative braking, if you have a strong enough setting, you can drive completely with one pedal. You can have a harsh braking setting that as soon as you take your foot off of the accelerator, the car slows down for you. Or you can have a light regenerative braking setting where you take your foot off the accelerator and it barely slows down. It's a matter of how much you want it to slow down, that energy goes back to the battery, which is great. You can adjust from 1 to 100 in increments of 5 how much regen you want in track mode. You also have a toggle for stability assist, which lets you go from -10, the squiggly lines behind the car, to +10, that car is in a straight line. What stability assist does in a vehicle is it determines if the vehicle is out of control. So let's say you're trying to point the car a certain direction and you lose control. If the car senses that you've lost control, what it will do is kick in and it will try to put you back on your original path. That is stability assist. If you want to crank that down, then you can go out there and do a little drifting, have some fun, and have the car not pitch in to help you, right? You also have a toggle for handling balance between the front and the rear wheels. So you start out on 50-50. You can adjust it more toward the front wheels if you want, or more toward the back wheels if you want. How Tesla advertises this is basically if you encounter oversteer or understeer into a corner. So oversteer is you're turning way too much, your car is loose. Understeer is you're not turning enough to make the corner, your car is tight. You can adjust this toggle back and forth to try to fix that and have the right amount of turn in. A couple of other adjustments on track mode include cooling this car down, because electric cars are very impressive, but they also get very, very hot when you're running laps on the racetrack. So you have a little toggle that says, cool this thing down, please. I'm begging you, so the car doesn't get too hot. And you also have a couple of other options like saving your dash cam laps and things like that. So track mode's really adjustable, customizable, or you can just put it on the race preset and it'll pick all those things for you. Something Teslas are famous for is having some weird features, let's call it that. So my favorite, best of all, we're gonna go to this menu right here and we go to the toy box, okay? And in the toy box, we have, I'm sorry, it makes me laugh when I see it, a little menu option that says emissions. Now electric cars don't have emissions. Oh, the car's gonna fart. We're gonna do fart on demand and fart on turn signal. Okay. And then we can choose what farts we want it to have, okay? So, fart on turn signal. I hope y'all can hear this in my microphone. There is a different fart every time I hit the turn signal. And you can also fart on demand by clicking the left scroll wheel. I'm sorry. Listen, I know it's meant to be stupid, but it's pretty funny. We're gonna end that segment on a fart. We're gonna try romance mode now in the toy box. Oh, it turns my screen into a fireplace, which looks oddly realistic. Not bad. Oh. Okay. We have Mars. Oh, which changes my map to the surface of Mars. Let's scroll it down. Okay, so my car is now a Mars rover and I'm on the surface of Mars. I don't know how I'm gonna get anywhere looking at that, but it's cute, I guess. We have Sketchpad where I can draw a picture. Oh, this is fun. I would like doing this. Okay. Cute! This is how I'm gonna sign books from now on. Another thing you can show to your passengers in the car, if you have any passengers, is that your little Tesla Model 3 on the screen, like it does in a lot of new cars, when you open the door's open. It's cute. Light show. Oh, you can schedule the light show and have it go now. Oh! I don't know when it's gonna stop. It's been going for like 2 minutes. Oh, wait, this is it. Oh my, okay, that was interesting. So now I'm in the back of the Model 3, and just like the front, there's not a ton back here. It's very, very minimalist. I just look in front of me and I see the center screen where the driver's controlling everything. But I can say that it does feel airy back here. It feels like I have space, and I think that's because above me is just glass, and that glass extends all the way to the back. It doesn't stop right here. And so it feels like I have room back here. Another thing that makes me just feel like I'm in my own space is that these back seats are higher than the front seats. It's kind of like the stadium seating arrangement. And so I'm looking down on the people in the front seat, which makes me feel like my seat has a purpose. It's not just back here, right? When you're on the same level as the people in front of you, it's kind of like being on the same level as someone in a movie theater. You're like, well, I'm just behind you. I'm not behind and above you. In this case, I'm behind and I'm above you, and I can see what's going on, and that's a nice thing to have. But I have legroom. I'm 5'8.5", and you can see plenty of room right here, plenty of room to stretch out. I have my little centerpiece with cup holders. It's not a bad place to spend time back here. Also, if I'm a little kid, I have space back here, just like a little ledge. If I want to put my iPad back there, usually little kids have the little grippy cases on their iPads. It would be perfect right here. All right, driving the Tesla Model 3 Performance. Now, before I start driving, I am gonna say this camera is at a different angle than it's usually at. It's more up. That is because this screen, this center screen, is so big that I can't put the camera where I usually do. So you're just gonna kind of look up at me today. I'm so sorry, but it is what it is. Let's drive this car. Now I'm on just a normal road right now. And when I take my foot off the accelerator, the regenerative braking is comfortable. It slows down, but it's not extreme in the setting that it's in right now. And I'm sure I have a way to change that on the screen. And I'm on standard. So when I go to low, they honestly seem pretty similar. I don't see a huge difference between the two. This car also has creep turned off. So when I take my foot off the brake, it does not automatically start accelerating it. Oh, my fart noise is gone. Honestly, this car you can do one pedal driving really easily in, but also it's not jarring when the car starts slowing down with the regenerative braking. It's a really good mix of strong regen without being distracting. Oh, okay. Now I see why they call it the Model 3 Performance. I barely put my foot down and this car was gone. I mean, I barely touched the accelerator and this car was going. Oh my goodness. This steering is immediately responsive. It's borderline twitchy in a good way. Wherever you just slightly turn your hand, this car is going. I mean, it's immediately responsive. The steering is also heavy, which I appreciate, especially in a car with performance in the name. When you're driving a car that is meant to be driven hard and, you know, you're meant to be sporty in it, it's really nice when the steering wheel is heavy. Because if it's just like light and you can't really feel any consequence when you're turning the wheel, that's no fun. You want it to have some weight to it, and this has the right amount of weight. It's a little heavier than I would have expected, but I'm into it. It's always good to be reminded that cars are heavy and you have to be careful in them. Okay, I'm gonna turn around here and try to accelerate a little. I truly cannot even put my foot down. It's really, really fast. And I would go out on the highway and put my foot down, but I am in Austin and it's 4 p.m. and there's traffic everywhere. But the car is very quiet. There is road noise on this rough road I'm on. It's, you know, there's road noise, but the suspension is very comfortable. It's not just shaking me all over the place. I can feel the road under me, but I'm not bothered by the road under me. And I think that's the right suspension for the road. You can feel it, but you're not bothered by it. And that's where I'm at. But I do like that when you put your foot down, you have that little electric whine that starts going. It makes it feel more consequential when you put your foot down, even more consequential than it already is. And I mean, it's consequential enough because you're going really, really fast. I'm amazed at how blended in with the world around me I feel, and how easy it is for me to just go into one pedal driving mode. Because usually you have to get used to one pedal driving, right? Oh. Okay, I put my foot down to at least the fake floor that time. And, I mean, this car is fun, and it's the kind of like speed party trick that you would do regularly because it's a Model 3 Performance and you're in that kind of mood in this car. I feel like in some cars like the Kia EV6 GT, the speed is a party trick, and it's a party trick you're literally going to use on party occasions. You're not going to use it all the time. I feel like in this car, I would use this speed a lot. I feel like I would be flooring it pretty regularly in this car, just to remind me of what I bought and how capable this car is. A car like the Kia EV6 GT is also extremely capable, but this car just more puts me in the mood to drive this way, and I think that's an important part. I mean, I'm hitting the fake floor. I just know I'm hitting the fake floor, and I can't really go past the fake floor because of where I'm at. But even hitting the fake floor, this thing is fast. I like this car a lot. I like the way it looks. I like the way it feels to drive it. I just like the overall feeling of this car. Yeah, I'm into it. So that was the 2019 Tesla Model 3 Performance. It's fast, it's fun, and it definitely farts. Now, if you're done farting around on YouTube, this Model 3 Performance is now available on Cars and Bids. You can check out more photos, see the full spec list, or maybe even bid on it at the link in the description of this video. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.